before we dive in. So Eliza founded Kick It by Eliza in college, and it started as a passion project, and now it is a booming business. She has over 400 instructors, and she's built the Fempire, which if you don't know what that is, it is those 400 instructors and then all of the people that take their classes, so thousands of women, and it's a kickboxing method, and you just lift women up. And I've had the opportunity to do some stories and work with Eliza, and she's just amazing. So we're excited to have you here. And then Ashley is also a fitness instructor and studio owner. Before founding the Collective Studios in New Hampshire, though, she owned and operated a very successful marketing consulting agency. So, and you worked with exclusively health and wellness brands, so lots of experience in that. And she also has so many certifications. I told her that I'm not even going to go into them, but like yoga, Reiki. She's an integrative nutritionist. So basically anything in the fitness world that you need, Ashley's your gal. And the Collective Studios, I should mention, has several modalities. And then Christina is the Director of Marketing and Advertising for G2O Spa and Salon, which is right off Newbury Street, and it's Boston's largest day spa. She's been there for over 10 years. She's also a certified makeup artist, which is why she looks so beautiful up here, and we all wish that she did our makeup before. And she's a new mom to baby Tristan. So we'll definitely talk a little bit about that, about how she's, I hate the word balancing, Christina, but balancing it all. Yeah, it's... So like Jen also said, we will be talking about wellness and why it's so important, not only to our well-being, but also to our careers and to our success in our careers. So as we're talking about this, let's first define what wellness means to each of you and why it's so important in your everyday lives. Eliza, let's start with you, because you have the mic.
Check, check, here I am. Okay. Wellness to me, I always think of a sense of feeling grounded in your mind and your body, because I feel like when you feel grounded in your mind and your body, you can take on other parts of life, whether it's family, career, relationships. So I always think of feeling grounded. And also wellness, I think specifically like in the fitness space, a lot of people think about just their body, so like what their body looks like. But I find that to just be a byproduct of the work that you do in classes. It's really about nourishing your mental health and your emotional health, and then your physical health benefits because you're working on those two things first.
I love that. It's a holistic approach, and that's, I mean, it's coming off of a mental health talk that we had here. So that's great, and we'll dive into that. Ashley, what about you?
For me, I would say very similar answer. Wellness to me is anything that allows me to move through the world with increased level of peace. So I know that a lot of the audience here, you're either owner-operators, work in the hospitality space, you interact with a wide array of clients, some pleasing, some really frustrating, I am sure. Likewise, with a brick-and-mortar business, we interface with a lot of different clients, and so you tend to take on a lot of different energies. Your team, your clients, your retailers. It's what allows me to separate everything else, all their stress, all of those frustrations from myself, and allow me to move through the world from a place of authenticity and honestly just contentment.
So there's so many different facets to wellness, but for me, I think it's anything that you do or commit to doing that helps you maintain a healthy and balanced emotional, physical, and mental wellness, right? Because if you don't, it affects every aspect of your life. So that's what wellness is to me.
I love that. And Ashley, you touched on this a little bit, that you're dealing with a lot of people, and I think it's easy, or some might look at the three of you and say, well, this is your world, right? Like this, you work in wellness, this is your everyday. Of course you know what to do. Of course you have the time, but you're business professionals, you're small business owners, you have people coming through your doors, your classes, clients. So Ashley, I want to ask you, how do you prioritize yourself so that you can, with a full cup, kind of give to others?
This is something I'm still working on learning, but
We all are. It's okay.
Yeah. Boundaries. Boundaries, especially if you're an owner-operator, I think is the number one thing that you need to focus on, is being boundaried with your time, boundaried with what you take on from other people, boundaried with who gets access to you and at what times and when. Boundaried with yourself, how much of your own time you're going to put into your work. For me, I think... sorry, I just lost my train of thought. When you're an owner-operator, you're everything to your business. Especially if you're just getting started. My business is under 2 years old. I'm still wearing a lot of different hats. It's learning how to put it down when it's enough.
So what would a boundary look like for you? For example, at the end of the day, do you have a cutoff time where you're like, I'm not looking at work texts or emails?
That's a work in progress for me. 5 to 6 p.m. is a work in progress cutoff time that I'm working on. Like many of you, my business operates outside of normal business hours. My team arrives on site to our business at 5:30 in the morning and then is often leaving at 9:30 p.m. So we're fortunate enough that in the middle of the day, our business is closed, and that's like my admin hours, my time that I can work at my computer. But who here is an owner-operator? Yeah, if your business is open, it's on your mind, right? It doesn't go away. So for me, it's allowing myself to delegate, allowing myself to know when I'm not going to check in, and creating a boundary with myself where allowing my team to lead, allowing my team to take ownership of their work. And that's a hard thing to do as if you're a control freak business owner.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned there non-traditional hours, and I think so often a lot when we talk about wellness and we talk about fitness and we talk about these things, it's catered to the 9 to 5 traditional work hour audience. So Eliza, as someone who also kind of works non-traditional hours, how do you even begin, or what are your tips for beginning to build a routine and carving out time of peace for yourself?
This is something we got to chat about the last time, and I know a lot of people struggle with finding time even when they work a 9 to 5 job. Like, how do I find time to work out? How can I, to even think about it? But then you talk to people who don't have traditional 9 to 5s, and it seems like this big mountain that no one wants to climb, and I don't blame people for that. So I have a couple of tips that I always share with folks who don't have a traditional 9 to 5. The first thing is it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. You don't have to be working out an hour a day, and I talk a lot about this because there's this misconception that fitness has to be super intense for an hour every day, and if you're not sweating, if you're not dead after your workout, what's the point? So the point is to feel well in your mind, which is what I first started with. And you don't have to work out for 50, 60 minutes every day to feel well in your mind and body. It can be 10 minutes. It can be 15 minutes. It can be a walk. It can be a class. It can be what you want it to be. We don't have to put it into this box of one thing that is fitness. The other thing is that convenience is key. So if you are having trouble physically getting to a gym or a studio, go for a walk outside. I know that depends, if you're in New England in wintertime, of course, but it really can be as simple as that, because if you go for that 15-minute walk one day, you're going to feel a sense of okay, I did that, and I actually feel a little bit better. Is it going to cure all of your problems? No, but you're going to feel a little bit better. And when you feel a little bit better, you're going to want to repeat it the next day. And slowly but surely, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I've gone for a walk every day this week. And that's a habit. You're building a habit. Maybe the next step after that is going to take a class, or you increase your time outside. But I just think starting really small and shifting what we think fitness has to be is a really good place to start.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned there carving out 10 minutes, right? It doesn't have to be that hour. So as you were building your business, how did you find that you were more successful in your work when you carved out that time for you?
Well, you said it best. Small business owners, we're always thinking about our work. It's constant. So I think giving myself time just for me helped me unwind and detach from the anxiety, the stress, the responsibilities that my work is constantly asking of me. And if I can give myself space to just kind of clear out mentally and emotionally, then I can show up better when it is time to be on and serve my community and my clients and my team.
That's great. And so, Christina, I want to bring you into this too, because as a mom now, it's something that we spoke about prior to today, about carving out like stealing moments. It was the phrase that you used when we spoke. And I think that's a really interesting concept, because not only do you have the pressures like Eliza spoke about of your job, and you have many. I also should mention that she, like, down the hall is like the on-air talent for NBC, LX, and NECN. So she has like wears many hats. So how do you steal those moments for yourself, and then how do you see that you're better in every other area because of it?
It really is stolen moments. I think I just you have to look at your day and where you have room to wiggle, right? So for me, it's waking up 30 minutes before my son wakes up, and I focus on stretching and breath work and washing my face and brushing my teeth in a relaxed manner, not frantically, or making at bedtime, instead of worrying about the dishes in the sink or the household chores that I have to do, I take a shower and I breathe in the shower and I just exhale. But it's all those stolen moments, and I feel like people think that wellness and self-care can only be fitness, going for a run or going to a workout class, but it could be getting into dry brushing and dry brushing your body for 5 minutes before you shower in the morning and getting your lymphatic drainage system going and your blood flowing and energized, or massaging your scalp when you wash your hair, taking an extra 5 minutes to release all of the tension, because we carry so much tension in our head from the stresses throughout the day. Or even at night, you guys are in the food industry, you're on your feet all day long, I'm sure. At night, massaging your feet with a luscious, luxurious cream. All of these things are stolen moments for you, where you are, there's nothing else to focus on but being in that moment and giving yourself that little TLC that you need to just be with yourself, take care of yourself for a minute and recharge, so that you're better for everybody else and everything else that you have on your plate. And I think that that's the biggest thing that the pandemic taught us, that self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And now that we're back into the hustle and bustle of life, trying to keep that integrated into our daily routine, it's a struggle, but it's worth it, because you're better for it in all aspects of your life.
That was self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Everyone write that down or remember that, okay? And so to bring those moments into our day, Ashley, you've talked about habit stacking, and I think that's a really let me rephrase that, a very simple strategy for people to begin to bring this into their days. What is habit stacking, and how can we try it?
So habit stacking is one of my favorite ways to just easily, efficiently, let's use the word efficient, because a lot of us work in the hospitality space, owner-operators, you probably focus a lot on efficiency, right? So I am so type A, I love to do things the easiest, fastest, most efficient way possible. Habit stacking is a great strategy for this. So take something that you're already doing. So I will use my morning routine. I wake up in the morning and I have a lemon water. That's a thing that I'm already doing. I'm going to attach something else to that moment to start to learn that habit, and I'm going to do it all at the same time. So I'm going to now take my supplements at that same time. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down, I'm going to ice roll my face and drink my lemon water, and all these things are happening together. And maybe I'm listening to a sound meditation, or maybe from the last time I used a term called lizard time, which is, lizard time is the best time. It's when the sun is shining through the window and you just sit in front of it like a lizard and take in the warmth and the sunlight. I did it this morning, and That's as simple as wellness needs to be. It doesn't have to be this like overly complex 15-step routine with like a Joe Dispenza meditation with your crystal bowls and like your incense going. Like, no, it's just sitting on your couch, drinking your water, taking in the sun. So that's what habit stacking is. And then you can do a similar thing for evening. So you are going to brush your teeth from a place of calm, hopefully. And then you're going to stack on top of it your skincare routine. And then maybe, my routine is I sit on my bed, I take my evening supplements, I turn on my salt lamp, and that is it. We're done with the routine, and I've stacked multiple wellness, small things together that just really elevate and romanticize normal moments of your day. It doesn't have to be overly complex.
And is that something, because efficiency is something that we all crave, right? But it takes time to build those habits, and when we start to stack them. So how long should we expect that to take? What happens if we do it 4 days a week instead of 7 days a week? Like, can you talk a little bit about the grace period of that?
Yes. I think if your routine is stressing you out, it's counterproductive. So the routine is going to shift day to day. If you have a morning that is wide open or a middle of the day, let's talk about that, because all of us have kind of sporadic schedules. A lot of us don't work the typical 9 to 5. So whatever time of day that you're sitting down to do your routine, the variance of that time is going to differ day to day depending on those days' responsibilities and demands, fire drills, whatever is coming up that day for you. So allowing yourself the flexibility to just take what you're offered. And I think as a mom, you can probably relate to this a lot too, right? It's not being so rigid with your routine. It's being grateful for what you can fit in, when you can fit in, those stolen moments. I love that. That's such a great phrase.
That's great. And I guess let's go back to Christina here with these stolen moments and habit stacking. How have you found that now motherhood has changed your concept of routine? And how have you is it all the same? And how have you been able to kind of be flexible with that and maintain the self-care that we know is a necessity, not a luxury?
It's a daily struggle. I'm still learning. My son's 17 months, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Every day is a new adventure, and there is no true routine, because once you find a routine, it changes again. So it's just a matter of committing to yourself, even for those little things, because I notice a pattern, and when I don't give myself something, then I can't give my son everything, because I'm not the best version of myself. I'm more frantic or stressed or short-fused or tired. And then you have guilt because, oh my God, I lost my patience today, or I was too short with him, or whatever. And it's like, all right, well, what did you do for yourself today so that you could like recharge, reset, and take care of you? Because I remember my high school ex-boyfriend, his mother taught me this, and when at 17 I thought she was crazy. I thought she was so selfish. She said, I always eat first. And I'm like, what do you mean you feed yourself before you feed your kids? And she's like, yeah, because if I don't feed myself first, then I don't have the energy to feed or take care of my children. And it's the same thing with the oxygen mask on the plane. If you don't put your mask on first, you can't help anybody else on that plane. So that is what is always in my head as a new mom. It's like, all right, you have to take care of you so that you can take care of everybody else better.
That's so important. And I think, Eliza, we had spoken about something connected to this, about how as a business owner, as an owner-operator, as a business professional, you want to create an environment and an atmosphere for your clients, for your community.
Yeah.
That's the best experience possible, right? They're coming to you, they're giving you an hour of their time, and they want to get something from it. And similar to a lot of people here, right? Your people are coming to your restaurant, or they're coming to your place of work, and they're wanting a great experience. So we have to give them that, and we can be our own toughest critic in delivering that. So at the end of a day, a class, how do you measure a successful day? And how do you not dwell on the things that are going to tear you apart? Like, Christina saying the routine went crazy, right? How do you stay positive? How do you measure a successful class day? Anything.
All of the above.
All of the above.
It's so challenging because there's always more on the to-do list. So it's almost like, what am I going to sacrifice today that I'm not going to get to? And be okay with that and know that I don't have to do every single thing on that to-do list. I guess, in short, my world is not going to crumble if I don't finish everything that I have to do. But I think as a small business owner, it's hard to take that pressure off, especially when we're always so accessible to others. Social media, email, whatever it is, our phones are glued to us. So we're so accessible and we can access other people so easily. So I think, to Ashley's point, boundaries, it's so important. If I can get through a day without giving too much energy to the noise, whether that's doom scrolling on social media, getting caught up in an email that really doesn't need my attention but it makes me anxious, so I'm going to give it all my attention. If I can stay focused and present on the things and moments that really matter, including teaching a class that has a positive impact on people's lives, then that's a win for me. I have my screen time tracked on my phone. So like on Sunday night, it'll be like, your screen time was up 1,000,000%. And that usually means that week I was anxious because I was just scrolling through my phone and I need to put it down. So one thing that I try to do every day is say, can I stay under the limit that I put on for myself on my phone? And that's another marker of like, I stayed under my limit. Good job. I'm not getting caught up in the noise.
So those you're picking little things, small things that have big impact on your day.
Yeah.
And controlling the controllables, it sounds like.
Trying.
We are.
Trying.
I have the same time limit on mine, and how many times am I like, oops, ignore.
Totally. Or like, one more minute. Remind me in 15 minutes.
Yeah. And then it's 15 minutes and you're like,
yeah.
But also for the experience of others and looking at that, how much does that weigh, or not weigh on you, but how much does that influence your day?
Like caring about the experience of others?
Caring about the experience, and what do you do to perform almost?
It is a performance.
Yeah.
It really is a performance. So I think relatability is one of the most important things that I'd like to bring my classes and my community. Even like sitting up here, we're not different at all. It's like we have our, stressors, our responsibilities, our families, our relationships are really not that different, but we can help you in a certain angle because that's what we focus on. But I think, just showing up and supporting my community by being myself is really important. And it's something we train all of our instructors in, is you don't have to be put on a pedestal or better than. You actually want to be on the ground floor with people and relate to them and make it a human experience. And that's always been a really big priority to me. And I always find when I'm able to relate to people in classes, they have a better experience versus me being at the top of the room like Queen Bee. It's kind of taking down that wall and allowing ourselves to just be human.
That's really important. And so relatability, everyone's going to relate to something different. And so Ashley, as you're building your studio in New Hampshire, when you're creating the team of people, what do you look for? Because a lot of people here, owners and operators, right, are building teams. What do you look for to build a team that is relatable to a wide audience, but also creates a safe atmosphere for everyone to be well?
That is a great question because we prioritize that very highly in our business. So we pride ourselves at the studio being hospitality forward. So I actually look for people who have hospitality experience, who understand how to take care of the people around them, take care of their environment, take care of our facility. They care about making that human connection with people. And like you said, it is a performance. The way that we instruct, you do in a certain way, have to put on a show for people, and that's what makes the class engaging and dynamic and fun, and what people want to continue to engage with. Likewise, too, I'm assuming a lot of your venues or a lot of your restaurants, you probably got into this space because you care about those same things. You care about the environment, the atmosphere that you're creating, and you want to deliver an experience to people. So for our team, we look for people who are bold, who have a presence, who can inspire and empower other people. We look for team members who are hardworking, who are diligent, who are confident yet humble. That's a hard line to toe. You have to be able to really hold the presence of a room, yet be able to be a human being as well. So,
and that's really important, and I think that goes for people who are at the top, like Eliza was saying, but also who are new to a team. And so Christina, as a director and someone who has a lot of people that are working around you, what are some things that you have found kind of elements of the work atmosphere at maybe at the spa that have really helped to create a well environment that you've noticed, like that's why I hired you?
I think it's a mindset, and it's a mentality. Like you have to have a cohesion in terms of like your mission and your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing. And in the hospitality industry, it's all about taking care of others and leaving them better than they were when they walked into your door. And that's what I think brings us all together, and that's what builds this community, is the fact that we want to take care of people and help make people feel better.
Okay, you just mentioned community, which I know is a really, really important thing. And Eliza, I gotta start with you on this one. How important is your community at work and outside of work to your life? I mean, the Fempire. How important is the Fempire?
I think we would all agree that community is everything, especially as it relates to your business. And when I started Kick It, when I was back in college, the community was slowly just being built around me, and I didn't realize how powerful that was. Same thing happened when I graduated. I moved to Boston. I started teaching anywhere I could. Parking lots, factories, gyms, studios, whoever would have me, I would teach. And slowly but surely, this community just started to form around me, and I never took it for granted. And that's what I think contributes to me wanting to continue to humanize the experience for people, because I'm always so grateful for people's support around Kick It, whether they take class or you follow on social media, because that community is what has helped my business grow and thrive. And as powerful as something like social media is, word of mouth is the most powerful. So if you have a community telling, their friends, their family, their coworkers, hey, come to this class, you're gonna love it. That's what almost creates this like tornado effect, where it gets bigger and bigger. And then yes, maybe they post on social media and they share that experience, and it grows a little bit from there. But word of mouth and having people actually present around you, that has helped my business grow so much over the years, and it's something I'm extremely grateful for.
I think that's hugely important, and I also want to bring in Ashley, because Ashley, the power of social media was, you kind of had to lean on that during the pandemic. So like I mentioned earlier, you founded the Collective Studios during the pandemic, so you had this brick and mortar ready to open, and all of a sudden it was like, but wait. So you were building, so talk about how you've been able to build that community and what you lean on.
Yeah, so for a little bit of context to what Hannah was referencing, for my business, I moved back from the West Coast to New Hampshire in early 2020. We signed the lease on our business in March of 2020, right before all the shutdowns happened. So much like you, my business was not able to open or operate. My husband and I carried the lease on our business for an entire year on an empty space that just sat vacant. So I very much relate to a lot of you. If your business was shut down through COVID, I mean, can we just all agree it's been a tough couple of years? Like with the businesses being closed and now inflation and rising interest rates, I think that community comes back to this idea of being able to look at your peers and just commiserate and be like, that just sucks. It just sucks so bad. But for us, in 2020, we spent that time building a digital presence where we could connect with people and get them excited about the experience that we were trying to create. And so when it came time to open our doors, they had been waiting for us. We'd already been connecting with them online. And then we took those connections we built online into our physical space. The saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that is something that we really lean on. I try to make sure our community, our clients, our team are included in all of our decision making. We really lean on the people around us in our community to help drive our business. We're actually about to make a really exciting announcement this week that hasn't come out yet, but it is evidence to the point of how much a community can help you propel far into the future. I'm so proud of the team that we have. I'm so proud of our community for helping us achieve things that a new business like ours is really outpacing what other businesses that have been open for 10, 20 years have already done. So it just speaks to the power of when people feel connected to you, your brand, your experience, and how that can deeply impact and shift their lives, and how they'll be willing to advocate for you if you can deliver that to them.
How much does that take a weight off of your shoulders when it comes to not only owning a business, but also just when you go to bed at night?
I mean, it comes back to like why we all want to be in hospitality, right? Like why we drive hospitality forward businesses. It's because we want to ultimately create something that has some form of an impact on other people, a positive impact on other people. And when you look at your day and you're like, wow, like inflation up 4.5%, like we had to deal with this horrible client. This one email is like stuck on repeat in my head. I'm sure you all have that one experience with someone. It just replays all day. When you put your head down on the pillow at night and you have all these crazy things that have happened throughout your day, you can come back to this feeling of, I did get that one email from a client saying how much my business has changed their lives and how amazing they feel, and they've never felt stronger, they've never felt more empowered, they are seeking more from life because of the thing that you created. That's what it's all about, I think, in my opinion. That's why we do this, right? That's what it's all about. We don't give up our 9-to-5 salary paychecks to work 2x, probably half the amount of pay for not this type of return.
What I've loved about this conversation is that wellness, it seems like wellness is so much more than fitness. And there's so many elements of it, and the health of your career and the success of your career can help you stay well. So I do want to open it up to questions if people have questions. Oh, we do. You want my microphone too, don't you? Oh, let's find one. As I trip. Oh yeah, there is.
It is.
Okay.
Perfect.
As I trip it.
Thank you. It was wonderful hearing you guys and hearing your different perspectives. It sounds like you have your own businesses and you have a lot of direct reports that you're reporting to. Could you tell me what are some of the things that you're doing to help your employees and your staff do the same things? Like what are you providing for mental health, and how are you having them practice these things that you're preaching?
Great question. Who wants to take that one? Eliza, go for it.
So the primary part of my business now is actually a virtual membership with virtual instructors. And I didn't start it because of COVID. I actually started it a month before everything shut down. The timing was just very crazy. But it was from that point that I started with the instructors that I had on board during the pandemic that I thought this can't just be an experience where they're teaching for people and helping people. I have to take care of them mentally, emotionally, financially. And so one thing that just came to mind that we do is I always have them learning from other people. So during the pandemic, it was much more frequent because people had time for it. Like I remember Friday nights, we would virtually get together for our guest speaker. Now they would be like, Eliza, I'm not hopping on a Zoom on a Friday night. But we still do the guest speakers. And it's people from all different walks of life will come and share their stories, whether they're, we've had writers, professional athletes, other business owners, fellow fitness instructors. And I think just giving them the chance to continue to learn is one way that I can nurture them and show them that, specifically people in the wellness and fitness space, that our colleagues are not our competition. We can learn so much from them if they're willing to share, and they're our greatest allies. And I think that's been one of the most important things that I've been able to share with them.
So a little bit more on the technical side, which I love that response. We do the same thing. We're a very employee-forward business, and in a space, especially as a new business, a startup, it's pretty unstable. We are constantly pivoting. You need to be reactive to what's happening in your business in real time. I try to create a safe environment for my employees and a mentally fulfilling place for my employees by implementing operations that make their job easier. I think a lot of this gets missed sometimes. We are very focused on having a clean, thorough, detailed, easy to follow operations, whether it be through training, whether it be through accessing information about the business. Something else that I'm actively working on right now is implementing sort of a employee portal that will take all of our communications out of iMessages and into this app, so they can control what level of access they have to the business in the times they're not in the business, because I need to make sure that they are also receiving a separation from our business for their own mental health. Our view as an owner operator, it's tainted. You're in it 100% of the time, so you don't know, is my experience what the experience of the team is? So checking in with them often to say, how are you all feeling about the level of communication that you're receiving from the business? Does this feel efficient to you? Is this easy for you to do? How can I constantly make their time with the business seamless, easy, effortless, and then also fulfilling? So providing them with a suite of benefits that is kind of unheard of in our industry. I try to make sure that they feel like they are working in a place where they can continuously grow, evolve. There's opportunities being given to them. I'm showing them that I value them. I'm putting them before me a lot of times, which comes back to why wellness is important, because as the owner-operator, no one's going to give that to you. You have to give that to yourself. So yeah, anything to add?
I think for us at G2O, a lot of it was acknowledging that the way we live has changed. The hospitality industry was affected tenfold in terms of that, and a lot of people have left our industry because of the fact that there's no work-life balance and you're always working and you're always taking care of other people. So we've actually we adjusted our hours. We were open 7 days a week from like 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. and we heard our staff and we heard their concerns, and we adjusted our hours of operation to accommodate that and give them better work-life balance, and just giving them opportunities to check in with and their supervisors to make sure that they feel heard or understand, or so that from a directors and owner operators perspective, what's going on and how they feel and how they're being affected, and then obviously giving them time to enjoy the fruit of their labor. So for us at the spa, we give them certain days where they can come in and receive services and experience what they give so much to on the other end. And I think it's all about just doing what you can to help them maintain that healthy work-life balance in any way, shape, or form.
That was a great question. I have a follow-up to that, because you all seemed to mention feedback as a part of that. As business owners and as business professionals, when you get feedback, how do you separate? How do you take that? And if it's not something that you necessarily want to hear, and know, how do you let yourself kind of dwell in it and then move on? Christina, you can take that, or give it to Ashley. Because Ashley, you seem to say that you're gonna.
I have a waiting period for myself. I think that as a business owner, it's if something comes in and it triggers you, which happens a lot, you should take a minute and maybe give yourself a day. And then I like to do a little bit of self-reflection on why is this triggering me? Why is this frustrating to me? Oftentimes the answer comes back to I am not taking care of myself, so I am feeling resentful in this moment, and I'm feeling frustrated because people are continuously demanding something from me, right? As in hospitality, you're constantly giving. It's an outpour of your attention, your love, your care to everyone except to yourself. So in those moments where I just kind of feel really irritated when an email comes in, it's hitting pause, understanding why. What am I not giving myself that is forcing me to feel that way?
That's great advice. Thank you. Any other questions? This is the part where they all avoid eye contact.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for bringing the session back. For ×2, and no, hopefully we'll do ×3, ×4. These ladies will be hanging out here if you have any questions that you didn't want to speak into the microphone. We get it. They'll be hanging out here for a few more minutes, and we hope to see you guys all back here for day 3 of the New England Food Show.